All right. So no countdown. Let me adjust my microphone here. Welcome, everybody. I don't know if I've ever done a Lean Body Mind live stream. In fact, this is only the second public live stream that I've done. I do live streams with my paid channel members. It's one of the perks over on Serious Keto. But I found that, hey, Michael, I sent you an email. I sent you a couple of emails. I hope you got them. Outlook is behaving really badly for me. But I sent you one earlier this morning with a link for our chat later today that I hope you can make it to. So anyhow, what I was going to say is I had done one live stream on Serious Keto, and this was probably back in the 10,000 subscriber days. And there were enough bad behaviors in the chat window that I pretty much just had to shut it down. So hopefully everybody here is better behaved. I did put on, I think it's called like the slow mode, which means that a person can only comment every 15 seconds. So no one can start spamming the comments. So if you try and leave something and then you're like, oops, I got to quick correct that, you'll have to wait 15 seconds. So anyhow, welcome everybody. I'm glad you could join. This is really going to be more of a, I don't know, ask me anything, talk about how the fast is going, ask me what questions you might have. They don't specifically have to be related to the fast. If I've teased a few things that are coming up, including talking about goal setting and measurements. So if we want to talk about any of that sort of stuff, I can do that as well. But just be aware that those will become standalone videos later, and this will just be sort of a preview of that. So a lot of people here. Let me I gotta toggle out of OBS Studio for a second. Whoa, 30 viewers already. So that's more than I've ever had on Serious Keto. So I'm glad everybody could. Erica from Mitchell, South Dakota. I'm from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. So Mitchell, South Dakota, home of the Corn Palace. Sorry, just local to my childhood. But anyhow, I won't be able to say hello to everybody because there are a lot of you here. So if periodically I see something that catches my eye, I may throw a shout out. What else? If you do ask a question and I don't get around to answering it because sometimes my answers can get a little bit long-winded, let me know. I'll ask again. So Adam asks, any supplements when fasting? The problem is a lot of supplements, like I have to get out and sort of Google them or look at the ingredients because a lot of supplements do contain fillers, that have the potential to disrupt a fast. I mean, the problem with supplements is they don't list calories. And the other problem with the FDA is anything less than 5 calories can be listed as 0 calories. So very often supplements will include binders and fillers and things of that nature. So I would say if you're looking at supplements, look at the back of the bottle. Look and see, besides whatever the active ingredient is, are there binders? Are there fillers? Lots of times, there'll be like rice powder or, who knows what, dextrose even, holding things together. Lots of times the soluble vitamins, the fat soluble vitamins, will contain oils like soybean oil. So for me, and you can, all of you can fast however you want to fast. I'm not dogmatic about anything. All right, I am not the fasting police. I don't have a dog in this fight. All I know is what works for me, and typically what I tend to do is I would prefer to err on the side of caution. I mean, it's even in an extended fast, it's not that long to go without an artificial sweetener or something. So one of the things I had thought about taking as a supplement was amino acids, continuing to take branched chain amino acids while I strength train, but look those up. Nope, calories, so I can't do that. You can, however, do creatine monohydrate based on what I've researched. So I'll still be taking a scoopful of that in some water on the workout days. La, la, la. Okay, Marcia has a question. I assume you are wearing a CGM. What have your readings been since the start of your fast? Well, actually, I'm not wearing a CGM because very often I find that at night when I'm sleeping, and you can't turn off the low glucose alarm on the Dexcom. And in my opinion, it's the low alarm is set way too high. It's like at 55 or something like that. So I chose for the fast not to wear a CGM. I will be testing with my Keto Mojo and doing blood glucose testing, but I don't want to be woken up all night long by alarms going off on my phone because my glucose is down to 50, which is not all that bad. It's not a bad reading. It's bad getting woken up though repeatedly. So no. Interestingly, I did take my ketones yesterday, and I'm in pretty good ketosis right now. I got a 2.8 on my ketones. Today it was just a 2. I think perhaps dinner last night, my last meal, I made some sort of like pho, but I used the healthy noodles from Costco, and there's a bunch of mushrooms I put in there and things like that. So that may have reduced ketones just slightly. The other thing is, too, this is what I talked about for long answers. Terry and Courtney and Terry's family went on a road trip. They're going to be gone for 6 days, which I'm thrilled about. I'll explain that why, so I don't sound like a bad husband. I'll explain that in a minute. But Terry was basically packing from 9 p.m. until about 1 a.m. for this little trip. But and then Courtney showed up about 1, and then Terry's brother showed up in a van about 2. So basically, as I was trying to sleep, I got in bed about 10:30. Terry's constantly coming in, opening and closing drawers, turning on, turning off lights. So I did not sleep well, is the short version, which means I probably was producing more cortisol because I wasn't sleeping well, which may have had an impact on my ketones because ketones were 2.0 this morning. But I will be taking blood glucose readings with the Keto Mojo and updating my spreadsheet, which I may show you later. Adam says, I turn off Bluetooth to stop the alarm. There you go. Maybe I should have been doing that. Brian says, I've never been over 1.1 for ketones, usually between 0.5 and, I don't know what and 0.2. I don't think you mean like 0. Or 0.05, probably 0.5, I would guess. I know on my Keto Mojo, I think if I go much lower than 0.5, like maybe lower than 0.3, I think it just reads low. But I usually hang out in probably the 0.7 to 1.5 range usually. But I've been a little bit more strict on my keto this month as part of my trying to get in the best shape ever. When I'm in a fast, I can get up, to an 8, a 9, high 9s. The first time that happened, I was scared. I'm like, oh my gosh, am I going to die? Am I going to go into ketoacidosis? No, I shouldn't have been concerned. When did I start my fast? I started my fast after I put the last bite of food in my mouth last night, which was probably around 7:45 in the evening. It was kind of a late dinner. So Adam says, I use the Freestyle Libre 3. I don't have any Freestyle Libres anymore. Actually, I may have like some 2s or something. I think I have a couple, but mostly I'm on the Dexcom G7 now. It's pretty good. I feel I forget what it was that bothered me about it. There was something about it that I just thought, okay, this isn't great. But that's the thing with CGMs. There are trade-offs for each. I do like that Dexcom allows you to calibrate, versus a blood glucose reading. Eustace asks, how long will it be? It will I'll probably break my fast next Tuesday because Terry and Courtney are due back late, late, late at night on Monday. So it'll be a six, about a 6 day fast, thereabouts. In terms of Libre 2, that used to be the default CGM that Levels Health sent out. I found about 1 out of every 3 of them, I got really, really wonky readings. Either really, really high or really, really low, and you can't calibrate it. And lots of times it would be like really, really high or really, really low, and then it would just start jumping all over the place, and then 2 days later it would quit. So I was not a big, big fan of the Libre, but I haven't used the Libre 3. So in terms of going back to where Ann says, are you still working out? Because I'm wondering if it's not a good idea to weightlift during a fast. I plan on having a video interview that I'll release maybe tomorrow. But it's with one of my viewers. Wingsnut is his handle, although it's Michael here. You may have seen his name swing by. And he does a lot of endurance type running while fasted. I personally, there are some people that get very, very vocal about fasting and that, oh, you should just lay in bed for 7 days and do nothing. I am not in that camp. I believe you listen to your body. I'm going to be strength training. I'm going to be running, but I'm also very, very fat adapted. I think the more fat adapted you are, the longer you've been doing keto or carnivore or some variation of that, and you've got your body used to using your own fat as fuel, and you've done some fasting in the past, I think it's fine. Listen to your body. But if you want the official I don't ever want to be sued answer, always consult your doctor before doing anything. Marcia says, I put a Dexcom G7 on yesterday and it alarmed low for a few hours, but checking with the finger stick was in the 90s. So yeah, the first 24 hours, and this kind of is a bit of a special bummer on the G7 because the G7 only runs for like 10 days, whereas the G6 would run 15. So the first day I find almost completely unreliable on the G7. And so that's like 10%. I let it run for a day, then I'll do a finger stick and, then potentially calibrate it. I've had some viewers tell me, maybe some is too big of a number, maybe 1 or 2 say that they apply the sensor, but they don't sync it. They don't turn it on with the app until after a day. Like that, it just somehow just having it there, sticking its little filament into the interstitial fluid, that it needs a day to just sort of get comfy. I don't know. There we go. Michael chimed in. Listen to your body. I think listen to your body is the right answer, whether you're fasting or not fasting. Anytime you're working out, cardio, strength, whatever, listen to your body. Adam says, nowhere to get a continuous ketone monitor. I'm not aware of a continuous ketone monitor, but if you're saying that SciBio or CBio, I don't know how to pronounce it, makes one. Interesting. I was unaware of that. Eustace says, you need a long fast because it is the price of losing some muscle in the process. I have never lost significant muscle in an extended fast. In fact, I'd have to consult my spreadsheet, and it also kind of involves how much I trust my Withings scale, which I don't trust its body fat and muscle reading on a day-to-day basis in terms of accuracy, but I do trust it over time, sort of in aggregate directionally. And if I look at the values on that for my fasts, my fat loss is always significantly more, at least double whatever muscle loss I have. And within a week, I've recovered that muscle. So it's not a concern for me. I'm more interested in my hopes for autophagy, because I still have enough sort of dangly skin stuff going on around my lower abdomen. I mean, this, even though it's been 5 years that I've been doing keto, you spend 30 years overweight carrying this, great big balloon around your midsection. You stretch out. So my hope is that that maybe some of that'll burn up, a little bit during this extended fast. The last extended fast I did, I looked it up. It was 2022. I just haven't had the right opportunity. And the one little trick is going to be tomorrow, because I'll be watching Colton all day tomorrow, and he'll be sleeping over. So I have to, prep food for him and sit around at the table with him while he eats and I don't. But to me, I need the right environment for a fast, and for me that involves not having family around. And I get a ton of stuff accomplished, which is great, and I sleep so good. I don't want to throw any shade at my wife, but I sleep a lot better in a bed by myself. There's a lot less squirming and other things going on that might impact my Withings sleep mat, especially. I think the Withings sleep mat picks up more of my wife's movement and noise and getting out of bed and things like that than my own. So I'm kind of glad I got this Ultra Human Air, which will be a product review later on in the month. Lynn talks about benefits during extended fasting. One of my favorites is the longer I go, not only does my brain seem to get a lot more sharp, I swear my vision gets better. I swear I can see better, I can smell better. I think part of that is probably just built into our genetics, from the time when we were hunters and gatherers. If we were going a lengthy period without food, we should become a better hunter or gatherer so that we can find food so we don't starve. So either being able to spot that wildlife that we're trying to hunt or smell that berry that we need to eat. That's my hypothesis. And I just feel like I get about 48 to 72 hours into a fast, and all of a sudden I just start to feel superhuman. I pretty much lose interest in food, and I just feel great. Energy is great, focus is great, and I get so many things accomplished. And I've got a pretty substantial to-do list that I've put together for myself. So one of the things I'll do real quick here is I'll see if I can show you my spreadsheet. This is a spreadsheet I created back in 2022. I've kind of updated it a little bit, and but it's still, there's a lot of residual stuff left over from 2022. It's a bit of a mess. Let's see here. If I go and I click, I haven't done this in a while here on my control panel. Full screen, what, active window. There we go. So I'm going to do my best here to try and see comments and simultaneously look at my spreadsheet. But hopefully this is appearing for everybody right now. At the time, I was looking at various different potential electrolytes. And there's Perfect Keto electrolytes, the Keto Chow electrolyte drops, the Keto Chow magnesium drops, the Keto Chow fasting drops, the Keto Chow daily minerals. The Keto Chow tablets, I don't think those exist anymore. I think they've been replaced by these Salt-T capsules. And then snake juice, which is, I'll send out a link to everybody. I released that as an unlisted video on Serious Keto. It's going to be the recipe video on Friday. Here, let me see if I can just pop. No. Hang on, we'll go back to me, and then I'll go over here and go into content, details. Come back here and all right. So that is unlisted until Friday. and then it will be my recipe video. No cooking video this week. Obviously, I'm not going to be cooking while I'm in a fasted state. Eustace says, have you heard about the dangers of oxalates? I've heard about the dangers of everything. In fact, if you go out and you Google is and then insert anything and then dangerous, the answer is yes, it is all dangerous. So I often refer to the quote by, I think it was Paracelsus, that said, all things are poison and there is nothing without poison. It is the dose that makes it poison or not, which has been shortened to the dose makes the poison. So there are people out there that are all oxalate crazy. There are people out there that are crazy about everything. Everything is bad. I deal with it in every video I do. Oh, you used almond flour. Aren't you concerned about oxalates? Well, if I were concerned about oxalates, I wouldn't have used almond flour. Some people, maybe they've got a high oxalate sensitivity, in which case then they should be concerned. But for the quantity that I consume, I don't consider it an issue. So that's that. Adam says, do you think Zevia sodas break a fast? Again, I'm staying away from any sweetener during the fast. That's what I'm doing. I don't know. I don't know if they break a fast. I don't know how you measure if you break a fast. But I know that if I walk the straight and narrow on this fast, I don't have to worry about it. Lady Smith says, what was that first one on your spreadsheet? I need the calcium for blood serum. Okay, so let me go back to my spreadsheet here. Active window, and then I'll come over here to it. Okay, so both the Perfect Keto electrolytes and at the time the Keto Chow tablets did have some calcium in them. So basically what I did is, I looked at all the makeups of all of them, and though calcium was not a focus in terms of my my electrolytes, to me, I'm concerned about the magnesium, sodium, potassium. Those are sort of the big three. Chloride kind of comes along for the ride. Then I started looking at my daily intake, and I created this spreadsheet. So each day I would go and I would add in however much, I took. So the first day it was like 2 Perfect Keto electrolyte tablets, a serving of Keto Chow magnesium drops, fasting drops, and a serving of snake juice. And then this down here just does all the calculations for me. So on that Saturday, I had 70 grams of calcium, 328 of magnesium, 1730 of chloride, 816 of sodium, 517 of potassium. And then my notes. Now what I found, I kind of started looking at what element was, what their ratios were, and I thought I would try and mimic that towards this middle section here, and I did not feel good. Weak, dizzy. I think getting way too many electrolytes and having a lot of diarrhea. If we're all being friends here and talking honestly. Ultimately, I found that getting my magnesium kind of in the 500 to 600 range was really sort of the optimal place for me. It turns out that I didn't need the quantities that are in Element, I always say Elemental P, or even the Salty product, or the Daily Minerals from Keto Chow. It's just, to me, those are, I get a little bit loose down, gastrointestinally. Adam, I posted the link to snake juice up earlier. It's going to be Friday's video on Keto Chow right now, or not Keto Chow, Serious Keto. It's right now unlisted. It's a homemade electrolyte drink, homemade Gatorade, essentially, unflavored, unless you add lemon juice, lime juice, which are both fine on a fast in small quantities because they're essentially 0 calories. Everything I've looked up on the internet said lemon juice, lime juice, flavoring your water, that's okay. All right, now I got to scroll back a little bit here. So there's a comment that didn't get finished about, okay, do you know if pure fiber without any other macronutrients will break a fast? I don't know. Again, I would rather err on the side of caution. I'm not gonna. To me, it's like why poke a sleeping bear? I can go 5 or 6 days without supplements or fiber or things like that. So um, I'm going pretty clean here. Scroll. All right. So what is your diet over the 5 days? My diet will be water, tea, electrolyte water. This is the Great Value Hydrate brand. I'm not going to be doing any coffee. I'm just not I'm not a big enough coffee fan to be a fan of black coffee. So, water, tea, and electrolyte water. That's going to be it. What kind of tea do you drink when fasting? Usually green tea. I like the Tazo Zen. It's got green tea and mint in it. I've also got one of the other Tazo green teas that has ginger. Not as big a fan. Eustace says, will there be a chocolate ice cream recipe video in the future? I don't know. Probably not. I don't eat ice cream hardly at all. Maybe once a month, and I'll mix up some keto chow ice cream and do it in the Ninja Creamy, and that's only when Colton, my grandson, wants some. Otherwise, I don't eat dessert. I eat dinner, and when I am satisfied with dinner, not full, I don't eat till I'm stuffed. Maybe I'll eat till I'm right on the edge of full. But usually it's like I hit a point where I think, I'm good. And then I stop. And then I'm done for the evening. I don't need another meal after my meal. I don't need an evening snack. I don't need anything like that. I'm done eating. So I, watch some TV with the missus, and then we, go to bed. I wake up the next day and have some coffee, although not on the fast because I like my coffee with a little bit of cream, heavy whipping cream, and perfect keto collagen in it. So that's the story on the ice cream. Gerard says diarrhea is typical for me at day 3 or 4, no matter what I do. It's possible that our body's flushing out at that point. I haven't done enough extended fasts to say for sure, but I do know that when I was really amping up the minerals, things were accelerated. It wasn't just like, oh, this particular bathroom trip is going to be that way. It was like all day long, frequent bathroom trips being that way. Marcia says, will you be doing these live streams every day? Probably not. Maybe every other day. It's hard to say. Because I also need to create content. And, I want to create some of the other videos that I have in mind for Lean Body Mind and the whole Getting in the Best Shape of My Life series, which includes, I need to do the goal setting video. I need to do a video on measurements. I've got a whole bunch of topics that I've written down here. Let's see if there's any other quick questions, and I'll go back to my spreadsheet. Wow, I completely forgot that I wasn't back to my full screen self here. There we go. Back to my full screen self, as long as I'm talking. Let's see. Oh, Rusty says, are we looking at your last extended fast stats? I'm going to get there. I was talking electrolytes at the time. So we can go back. We can go back to those. See, I don't do these things fast enough that I can get over here onto my Stream Deck console and press the right buttons and know where I'm going. All right, so then I've kind of cleared out the spreadsheet. I've still got my calculations and stuff. I wanted to find out what the electrolytes were in this hydrate, because one of my viewers who has done a number of extended fasts recommended it to me, but I cannot find any information on what it contains. So there's that. 2022 biometrics. So here is my weight, track my body fat, pounds of muscle, my water percentage, my BMI, my blood pressure over the period, my glucose, the ketones. I wonder if this, I went and I relabeled this 2022. I'm questioning if this was actually the 2022 one, because I do recall one of my fasts getting the ketones up into the 9 range. My sleep score based on, at the time, my Withings mat, average heart rate, resting heart rate, that sort of stuff. Then I've got it set up for this year. Ignore this because this is not, this is, oh, what the heck? Ignore the graph. Graph is not important yet. But now I'm measuring my sleep both with my Ultrahuman Air ring and the Withings sleep mat. And sometimes I find that the two of them are very well synced up. I'm finding myself more inclined to trust the ring. But these are the things that I'm measuring. What is this? Oh, and then this I talked about going into the week after. So like muscle percentage, you look at my starting muscle. In terms of body weight, they stayed pretty consistent in terms of a percentage of body weight. Yes, I did lose some muscle. So if we go back to the original question about did I lose some muscle, yeah, I did lose a little bit of muscle. But as a percentage of overall body mass, no, I didn't. In fact, I gained. So it depends on if you're measuring by percentage or if you're measuring by pure pounds. Did I see Lindsay joined? Lindsay, hello. Great to see you. So yeah, I'm not overly concerned with muscle loss. So here you can see the graphs. My weight going down, body fat going down, muscle percentage going up. And back to me. So that's the data geek in me, the old Six Sigma master black belt, capturing all the data. The problem is, if this were a Six Sigma project, I don't know that it would pass a measurement system analysis, because some of the tools that we have as consumers are not nearly as accurate as what the professionals have. Michael says, oops, let me get to the other spreadsheet, or asks, was the ketone 6.1? Yes, it was 6.1 near the, that was on a Friday. The second to last day before, the second to last day before the end of that fast. If that's what you're asking. Yeah, it was 6.1 for ketones. Lindsay did a Six Sigma green belt class or project, I guess. Yeah, one of the things I talk about when I used to teach that, because I always tried to be the awesome teacher. Six Sigma and Lean are tools. And they are process excellence tools, and they can be used the right way or they can be used the wrong way. And very often companies use it the wrong way, which is they're purely focused on profit as their goal rather than profit as their side effect. Their goal should be making their employees happy and effective without working them any harder, just making them more efficient by improving their jobs. And I think most employees do know what where the waste is in their job, where the things they're doing that don't add any value to themselves or their customers. And you want to make your customers happy. You do those things and you can't help but be profitable. But very often companies, they look at these tools as ways to cut costs, and the biggest cost they seem to like to cut is the variable cost of manpower or headcount. So that's where it gets to have a bit of a bad reputation. Gene says, what tool are you using to measure muscle? Well, I've kind of got two. One is not, and I mentioned this earlier, not super, I don't have a tremendous amount of trust in its accuracy on a day-to-day measurement basis. Like if I stepped on my Withings scale, which is the tool, and it said I'm 25% body fat, I have my doubts that would be the same reading if I had a DEXA scan or an in-body. But I do know that even if it's not completely accurate, over time and in aggregate, I can see trends. So I can see that it's improving. My son is a co-owner of a gym. They've got an in-body scanner over there, so I can get scanned on that. At least now that he just got back last night from his combat exercises down in Louisiana. So once he gets settled back in, I'll probably go and have another scan on the in-body. So, good to see, Lindsay, that they used Six Sigma, the what I would consider the right way in your area. Um, when I went to work, and I'm going to bore some of you with this story. When I go to work, or when I went to work for Cooper Power Systems, which is now owned by Eaton, um, and one of the projects that we did was improving the efficiency in the customer service center. And I presented in front of the president and all of his staff, and he said, "Okay, so how many headcount can I reduce?" And I said, "What?" And he said, "If you can't give me 2 headcount, then this project is BS." He says, if I can't, this is how I measure things. And I said, "But that's kind of like having a stock that starts performing better, so you get rid of half of it. That doesn't make sense. You can gain more through efficiency than you can by cutting people." And the moment people start to realize that the reason we're doing lean is to lay people off, this whole initiative is dead. And it's like immediately I thought, oh, I joined the wrong company here. But fortunately, then a lot of his direct reports, all the other C-band people started jumping in and coming to my defense and saying, "Yeah, this is not how we do lean." Anyhow, another tip for cramps coming from Gerard. Typically, people say more magnesium is needed. It could be, but another possibility is that more hydration is needed, especially in bed. Gravity affects its place. So, yeah, I don't think there's a one-size-fits-all answer to most things in life, including electrolyte consumption. I think track it the best you can. You don't need to geek out with a spreadsheet like me, but I do recommend keeping a journal and kind of listing, what did I take in terms of electrolyte or mineral supplements over the course of today, and how did I feel? Did I have cramps? Did I feel weak? Was I tired? Did I have diarrhea? All of those things. I think that's. I keep forgetting to go back to my me on the big screen here. I think that's what's important. We all got to just own our own stuff, whether it's keto, whether it's fasting, whatever. It just we've hit a point where a lot of people want the answer rather than wanting to research and find their own answer. Adam asks, "Do you ever pop those wine bottles open?" Not often. I, for the most part, don't drink anymore. I will enjoy a glass of wine or two with dinner from time to time, but that's about it. I find even a glass or two is enough to affect my sleep, and I love my sleep, and it affects my workouts too. It's crazy. Like 2 glasses of wine with dinner, and the next day I'm knocking out fewer reps in strength training. My mile speed goes down for runs. So, and that's too big of a kick to my ego for me. So I find I feel a lot better without alcohol at all. I do like wine. I just choose to not have it for the most part because just overall, I think my body operates better without it. Rusty says, "Did you kick off the fast at the start of this live stream or last night after dinner?" Last night after dinner. It was about 7:45. Now, what's interesting is on any given day, this is no, at this point, we are no different than any given day, except for the fact that I didn't have my coffee with the perfect keto collagen powder in it. I'm feeling just a little bit hungry. But, I'm telling myself, like, I shouldn't feel any different because this is what I go through every day. I don't typically eat anything outside of the coffee with the collagen in it until late afternoon. So I think part of it's just sort of psychological. Lynn says, "Imagine, oh yeah, So to take it to an extreme of saving money at a business, just shut down your business. I guess what she's saying. Um, Draw degrees, fasting is an N equals one experience. Um, yeah, this is one of the frustrating things over on Serious Keto is the apparent lack of realization that people have that people are different, and it should be pretty self-evident. Different people are different. They are going to react differently. Some people have allergies. Some people have sensitivities. Some people, are in different shapes. Some people have different genetics. We're different. So to apply a one size fits all solution to anything, I think is kind of ridiculous. I mean, I get people when I was doing the resistant starch experiments, like on rice, people saying, well, how come, billions of people eat rice in China and they're fine? I'm like, okay, maybe because millennia of eating that way have changed, a little something in their genetics. How come if I offer them dairy or alcohol, that messes them up? Does that and a Northern European can handle those things just fine. So different people are different. I think different races throughout the course of human history, especially if they've been very geographically consistently located, are going to have certain things affect them differently than people that were geographically located in other parts of the world for thousands of years. So that's my little everybody's different rant. Rusty has a follow-up question. Did you eat normal last night or eat extra fat? I ate normal. I mentioned this before you got here. Made some pho. Used some of the healthy noodle from Costco and some mushrooms and some pork. And it wasn't like traditional pho. I throw some Thai basil in there and soft-boiled egg. But nothing, not an especially large amount of fat or anything different. Eustace says, do you sleep less when you fast? I don't know. I've been sleeping less just in general lately since I started getting up early in the morning and running. It's sort of a weird thing. A lot of people say, well, I couldn't get up that early. Well, neither could I until I started. And then once I started getting up earlier, it got easier. And then I started falling asleep a lot more quickly at night. I wasn't going to bed a lot earlier than I used to. A little bit, probably, I'm usually in bed by 10, but I'm asleep, I think, by about 10:02, which has never been the case for me. And according to my sleep sensor, my sleep is a lot deeper. I'm getting more restful sleep, though perhaps less. So improved quality, decrease in quantity, but I'll be monitoring that on my spreadsheet over the course of this next week. So I'll have an answer for you on that soon. Adam says, being hospitalized is an automatic fasting protocol for me. I refuse to eat unless they give me boiled eggs. Yeah, this is the problem. Like, you do anything, you have any sort of surgery or something. I remember, and I'll keep this from being TMI, but I was having a prostate biopsy a while back, and you get done, and even though it's a local anesthesia, they're like, here, have a bunch of orange juice and cookies before we let you drive home, and I'm like, what else you got? Because I'm not going to be doing the orange juice and the cookies. And, so now the last surgery I had, which was a colonoscopy, I just made sure to bring a keto bar and, make sure that I had my own keto-friendly snacks handy. So Lindsay falls asleep almost immediately when she goes to bed. Exercise is effective for that. Yeah, for me, it's the getting up early, getting out, running a few miles. Then I think my body's just sort of primed to sleep. I'm really excited this week to be able to really practice some serious sleep hygiene. So to do some of the things normally what Terry wants to do. We get done having dinner. She wants to watch whatever series we're binge watching at the time, and then we go to bed, because she's falling asleep on the couch. We go to bed, and then suddenly she's like on her phone, and not in night mode, in the white mode, and she doesn't turn off the typing noises either. So it's like tick, 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 she's typing with a white screen, and I don't know, maybe I've got really thin eyelids or something, but I can see. I know that there's a white screen on near me, and I hear the clickety clickety clickety, and she'll be doing that for a while, and then I just start thinking like, okay, what do I have to record videos on for serious keto and lean body mind? I get thinking, and then it's 2 hours and I haven't fallen asleep. Or the other thing that happens with the wine, even 2 glasses of wine, I'll wake up at 2 in the morning. Just boop, wake up. It's like some sort of, I don't know, alcohol slingshot effect or something. And I don't enjoy that either, which is another reason why I opt to, for the most part, not be a drinker. In fact, I could not tell you the last time I had a drink. It was some point in May. That's that much I know, but that's just how little it really means to me at this point. Anyhow, I want to really practice some sleep hygiene. I've got a couple of VR programs on my Quest headset that are supposed to do some stuff to really, help you out and get into sleep. It plays some, binaural stuff through the speakers, and then you have your eyes closed, but it's doing like this blinking light pattern that you can kind of see through your eyelids, and it's supposed to totally get you ready to just conk, which I'm looking forward to trying. Seeing what impact a hot shower has before getting in bed. I just want to kind of experiment a little bit with some of the sleep stuff over the course of this week. So Eustace says, I wake up like way too alert in the morning when she fasts. That's kind of been the way it's been for me since I've started getting up and running. I do not set an alarm, and I wake up. It's sometimes too early. The other day it was like 4:20, and I'm like, no, just why not? Just another half hour would have been great. But the moment I'm awake now, I don't. There's no snooze button in my brain. I'm like, okay, I'm up. Might as well get up. Have I binge watched any good series lately? We've been working our way. So we always have like an hour long and a half hour long that we kind of are able to juggle. So our current hour long, we're on the final season of Justified. We have not gotten to Justified City Primeval, but I really enjoy Justified. I've read a couple of the books by Elmore Leonard, and that's based on his stuff. I like the dialogue in those. And then for our half hour, we're watching Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which, if you ever want to watch a show that makes you feel a lot better about yourself, that's the one, because you will not find a group of more narcissistic, egocentric, and morally bankrupt people, which is what makes it kind of funny sometimes. And I figure by the time we get done with drawing a blank now, Justified, the next House of Dragons or whatever, season 2 will be done. I don't like having to wait a week between shows, so that's I tend to wait for the entire season to play out before I watch anything. Adam says, what are you going to break your fast with? First meal is broth. It's either going to be a chicken broth or bone broth. Hopefully, I'm pretty sure I got some that's homemade in the freezer. Then 2 hours later, it's typically eggs, scrambled or hard-boiled. I'll have 2 eggs. Then a couple hours later, 2 more eggs, and then I'll maybe throw in a little bit of lean protein. The last time I did it, I was doing shrimp. Just, not obviously breaded and fried or anything like that, but just, I think, some steamed shrimp. And basically, I just sort of, that's sort of my day like that. And then the next day, I sort of go back to regular eating. I feel like my system is pretty much stabilized by then. I'm not going to eat anything like insane, like a, big bag of Taco Bell or something like that, but just, go back to, some reasonably clean keto eating. Rusty says, curious to see if this one is easier for you than in the past. I've done a 24-hour fast a few times and it's gotten easier. Extended scares me a bit. Do you recommend to drop pounds that stay off? I don't understand that question. But one of the things I found, I'd done a few videos on fasting on serious keto. The first time was like 24, then 36, and 72, and I kept ramping up, and it does get easier. It gets way easier when I'm the only one at home, just because Terry is a grazer. She eats always. There's just always snacking going on. And I'm not saying this like I'm throwing shade at her. That's just her eating habit. That's her metabolism. And that means I'm always seeing or smelling or hearing eating. And that just starts to really kind of grate my nerves a little bit when I'm fasting. Because I don't know. That's just my personality. It does. So rather than subject my family to me being irritable because I have to be around them eating, I wait till they're not around, and then I'm not irritable and everything's great. So that's that. Lindsay says, almost finished with Modern Family. Modern Family was great. We did Modern Family. We went through all of that. That was a really fun show. Oh, Rusty says he ran out of characters. Do you recommend as a way to drop pounds that is easy to keep off? Well, when I showed the spreadsheet earlier, what happens is it seems the fat stays off, and what comes back is the muscle. So I lose some fat, lose some muscle, lose the fat at a greater rate than the muscle, and then after the fast, the muscle seems to come back, the fat not so much. So I don't have a system. The one thing I haven't done, which 2 years ago I wasn't running, so this is going to be a new thing for me. Yesterday, and I recorded this video, it'll probably be part of the goal setting video. I showed that I'd gotten up, it was 5 a.m., went to go outside, and it's thunderstorm, just coming down in buckets, lightning, hail. So I'm like, all right, well, I'll go and I'll do some other stuff. I'll go and answer YouTube comments, and I'll come back and try this again, at 6 and see what it looks like outside. Still bad. I'm like, all right, well, I guess today's not the day. Then the afternoon rolled around. I'm like, this is run day. I gotta run, or I've made a commitment to myself that I'm going to run. I'm not gonna skip a workout unless I'm just no way capable of doing it. But by the time it was around 1 p.m., it was like 87, 88 degrees outside here, which I know for some of you down in the South is not a big deal, but for Southeast Wisconsin, that's plenty hot and humid, especially when there was thunderstorms earlier in the morning. It was pretty humid. That was a hard run. That was a hard run. Way different than when you're running at 67 degrees Fahrenheit at 5 in the morning. And trying to get out of my t-shirt, it was so soaked. It was like trying to get out of a straitjacket. Anyhow, like I said, the difference is I'm running now, and tomorrow is a run day. So it'll be interesting to see how I feel. And the good thing is I will be having a conversation a little later this afternoon with Michael, and I'll record that, and we'll talk about how he handles fasting while running marathons, and get some of his advice and experience from listening to his body. Keeping going. Eustace says, I'm looking for the sleeping device you were talking about. Is it the Sleep Loop? So I've got 2, well, technically 3 if you count my Apple Watch. So Apple Watch and the app. It's a good app, but I don't like wearing my watch when I sleep. I don't like wearing most wearables when I sleep. I can tolerate the Ultra Human Air ring, but let's see. Did I? Oh, here it is. It's called Auto Sleep. It's a really good app on the iPhone if you have an Apple Watch, but I don't like wearing the Apple Watch when I sleep. So I've got the Withings sleep mat, which goes under your mattress, and it's it's like the Princess and the Pea but reversed. It senses everything that you do, your breathing, potentially your snoring, if you're snoring, your movement, your heart rate, all of that. It's a pretty slick device. Especially if you don't want any sort of a wearable. And then I'm currently doing a review of this, the Ultra Human Air, AIR, not ERROR, ring, and I like it a lot. The app is unbelievable, and unlike the Aura ring, which I'd done a review of back on Serious Keto, you don't have to pay for it. It's like one and done. You pay for it, you've got it, you got the ring, you got the app, you're good to go. And the amount of detail it has and the things that it measures are pretty amazing. So I'm looking forward to publishing that review. That'll be out later in July. I've got almost enough of the B-roll footage. Now I just got to do sort of me talking and explaining everything that I've seen. Mary says, have you exercised your whole journey down the scale? Yeah, not a lot of cardio though. Cardio is a relatively new concept in my life. Strength training, yes. I've always kind of been doing that since for the last 5 years, but or resistance training, whatever you want to call it. But cardio, no. And one of the things that I saw when I got my Ultra Human Ring Air is my cardio age is higher than my biological age, and I want that to be the other way around. So I've been working on that, been doing the Couch to 5K program. When I do the goal setting video, I will include a link to that. You can get the book, but you don't need it. Just go to this website. They've got essentially the program, and they've got like the sort of the here's what you do on each day. The intervals, and then I use an app. I think it's just called Interval Timer on my phone, and I program in the intervals, so I have that on when I'm running, so I know when I switch to walk, when I go back to run. Gene says snacking people are hard for me too, but eating next to people that crunch has really bugged me. I was brought up to chew with my mouth closed and to take reasonable sized bites. And that's not a thing with the rest of my family. I'll just say that. And you pick your battles. So I live with it. I don't love the chewing noises either, and the munching and the crunching, and but hey, you pick your battles, and that's not a hill I'm going to die on with any one of my family members. So, I'm sorry if I can't pronounce your name here. It's more syllables than I can usually wrap my head around. But the question is during extended fasts. Just got 2 comments popped in really fast there. During extended fasts, if I'm really hungry and I can't distract myself from it, I just smell food items in the fridge and imagine that I'm eating them, which tends to lower my craving. Does that work for you? I feel it probably would not. When I was doing my ab workout earlier on, and I can smell the keto chow, the bulk bags that aren't official bulk bags, are the bulk bags that I was using to create my flavors of keto chow with. I could smell the baked potato soup, and I'm stomach started growling. So. Yeah, for me, I gotta get away. If there's food around and I got an irresistible craving, I'm going outside. I'm going for a walk. I'll run an errand. I'll do something, or or I'll find a task like, okay, I'm gonna go clean the bathroom. Something that I don't want to expose myself to food if I'm kind of starting to have a craving already. Adam says, if I'm right, your keto cheat sheet recovery video was around July 4th. Is that going to be the same situation this year? Yeah, I mean, I'll be done. I think it's whatever Tuesday is. It's Tuesday the 2nd. pull up a calendar here. They're getting back late, so I'll be breaking my fast on Tuesday. So I'll be good in time to grill out for the 4th of July. All right, so it has been an hour. I think I'm probably going to wrap it up because I do have a to-do list. I got a lot of stuff I need to accomplish. Household tasks, things like that have been on my to-do list or honey-do list for quite a while. And since tomorrow I'll be spending all day with Colton, just him and me, I'm not going to get any of that accomplished tomorrow. So I'm going to get going. I will have a video tomorrow. I probably won't have a live stream tomorrow, but I will have a video that we'll release tomorrow. It may be the interview, depending on how quickly I'm able to edit it. The interview that Michael and I do later this afternoon. So everyone, I appreciate you all joining me. I hope I was able to get around to everybody's questions. If I wasn't, I do apologize. And good luck with the duration of your fast. Unfortunately, I don't think I made a good closing screen here. I think it's still my Serious Keto closing screen. So I need to fix that too before the next live stream. Anyhow, you know how this ends.